Scentland, the land of scent. Hello and welcome, Chris, back with another fragrance review, and this time it's an oldie but goodie. A fragrance that I'm using now for over 20 years, more than 2 decades. That I'm familiar with this fragrance and I use it. It always comes back to me. It always greets me again and again with its seductive, warm, unique, all-American freshness. We're talking about the great Tommy by the house of Tommy Hilfiger, released in 1995, and one of the noses was Alberto Morillas, and this was Tommy Hilfiger's first fragrance release for men, and it's almost unchanged ever since, apart from a little bit of the box that has changed, and a little bit the letters here, the fonts here. It used to be transparent or sort of white. Now it's this bluish type of scenario going on the bottle, but the bottle itself looked like this 20 years ago as well. And the smell, wow, one of my all-time favorite fragrances, but it requires for me to be in a particular mood. For me, actually, it's interesting because this is not a springtime or summer fragrance. Well, springtime maybe, but definitely no summer. For me, this is more springtime and winter, but more winter somehow, the colder months of the year. And I'll explain why. First of all, let me start by the amazing, you can call it cheesy, you can call it overdone, you can call it pretentious, you can call it whatever you want. I still like it, and I'm a sucker for this type of marketing that this fragrance has released, been featuring. You know, this all-American youthful fragrance that is so energetic and has all these fantastic ingredients: Cape Cod cranberry, Kentucky rain, Texas yellow rose, apple pie, and various other ingredients or notes that are being featured here. Now you can say, wow, yeah, why don't you just call it an aquatic? Why don't you just call it rose, just cranberry? And you know what? You're right, but not. And the reason is that if you want to make an all-American fragrance that has been released in the 90s, especially when there was all happy days, you know, like it was a special time in the history of fragrances and the history of the US maybe as well. It was the Clinton times, everything was kind of booming, especially the mid-90s, and all these soap operas were around, Friends, Seinfeld, and everything seemed to be colorful, happy, and a little bit overdone, right? But somehow carefree, somehow youthful, somehow very energetic, very positive. And this is all what's featured in here. And if you add Texas yellow rose, if you add Cape Cod cranberry, if you say Kentucky rain, apple pie, I mean, these expressions, these words, if you repeat them again and again, isn't it much more colorful? Isn't it much more vivid? Can you not attach yourself much easier to something like Cape Cod cranberry or Texas yellow rose or Kentucky rain? Is it Kentucky rain? There's a song called Kentucky Rain, I think. Maybe I'm mistaken this. Maybe it's not. It wasn't even Kentucky Rain by Tommy Hilfiger. Maybe that's the Elvis song. You remember Kentucky Rain? I think there was an Elvis song with that title. Anyway, there is something There is a fresh, aquatic, rainy, kind of moody feeling in here. And the apple pie I have to highlight as well, because it gives the fragrance an edible kind of character. At the same time, we have cactus and cotton flower in here as well, citruses as well. It's a tremendous blend that is fresh, welcoming, friendly, extremely positive and uplifting, warm, edible, as I said. You almost want to consume this fragrance, not only spray it, but consume it. And invigorating, uplifting, and mood boosting. This is all in this very simple but very nice bottle of Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger. A total and utter milestone and masterpiece of the 90s, if you ask me. I first used it in 1998. I think maybe 97 even. And I keep coming back to it in the colder months. Why? I started my review with this. Why? Because this warmth that I've mentioned, this welcoming warmth that you have in this fragrance, is like an old friend that's greeting you, that's hugging you with a big kind of coat, you know, with big energy in those cold months. This is so much welcomed. This is so much welcome in a time when it's freezing outside, when you feel like the streets of the city are kind of cruel, and you know, and you want something that's uplifting. It's fresh, but at the same time it's wrapping you in this layer of tremendous warmth, and this is exactly what is being achieved here. The apple, I think it's actually a Granny Smith apple. It's just, I love apple in a fragrance. Sometimes apple is kind of not so well done. Here is very well done, and with this warmth, maybe actually the cactus and the cotton flower play an aspect here as well. With the warmth, it has this you know, homecoming feeling when you know those times during the festive days around Christmas, when it's cold outside and you come home, you open the door of your home, of your house, of your granny's house, of your mother's house, of your own house, and suddenly you got transformed from the outside cold, cruel, tough, yet festive environment into the real festive warmth of your own or your grandma's or mother's or whomever's loved one's house, when, you know, Mama's in the kitchen doing stuff, or Papa is in the kitchen doing stuff, and it's all happy times. It's all family around, loved ones around, and suddenly you feel this amazing relief that, you know, although it's cold outside, it's Christmas time. It's uplifting. It's love. Love is in the air, everywhere you look around. This type of stuff, you know. It's totally all captured in this basically very simple fragrance, right? It's nothing groundbreaking, yet it is. It's a milestone because the blend is just perfect in a sense, or in perfectly providing you with the moods and the vibes that I've just described in the last 9 minutes. So I keep using this, and it's, to me, it's one of my all-time favorite fragrances, Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger from the year of 1995, and will always be there. Luckily it has not changed. The projection sillage is the same as it was before, just an eau de toilette, nothing more, nothing less. Age group for me is totally, yeah, many people say it's a teenager fragrance, but that's, I think, maybe because they wore it when they were teenagers in the 90s. To me, I'm 46. I'm so happy to wear this, you know, because it gives me what I want to have at this time of the year from a fragrance, and it makes my day, it makes my week, it makes my month. So that was Chris from Sandland with Tommy Boy. Sometimes they call it, they refer to it Tommy Boy. Well, I'm not sure. Tommy by Tommy Hilfiger from the year of 1995. And I'll be back with more. Take care and see you soon.